Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about The Last House on the Left from 2009. This is the remake to the original from 1972 that was directed by Wes Craven, and it came around the time where remakes were starting to leave the scene because people were sick of remakes. But I think near the tail end of the remake boom, you were getting some of these remakes that actually were necessary. You know, The Last House on the Left in 1972, it was a good film back then, but when you watch it today, it's almost unwatchable now because it's not only a movie that's hard to watch because of the content in it, but it's also a bad movie as well. But films like this tend to need a remake because it's one of those films that has an idea that you could really explore, and that's something that I think the remake is really good at. Straight from the beginning, you can tell this movie was going to be a lot better in terms of quality because the film looked a lot better than it did back then, of course. Had a bigger budget, it had an all-star cast as well. Everyone in the film was fantastic. So it's a film like this that you do need to have that remake because of what Wes Craven brought us. It brought us a film that everyone was talking about for a long time, especially when it was banned in the UK and then banned in a lot of countries as well. When you see films that are banned, you want to see those films, but when you watch most of these banned films back in the day, they're very disappointing, and The Last House on the Left is a disappointment, to be honest. So I think it needed something like a remake to really refresh the genre. I don't think the genre was or even is going anywhere, the subgenre that is, because it is an exploitative horror film that the films were made back then to shock you, and as much as the 2009 movie does shock you, it's got more of a storyline to it, it's got more of a purpose and a reason behind it, so that when you do see the bad things happening, you want to look away. But when you see the revenge aspect, that's when you want to look. The film has a similar layout to the original. You've got these girls who want to buy some pot and they stumble upon these bad guys who are on the run. The girls are exploited and they're raped and then they're killed. And then the bad guys go to the parents' house, they don't know it, and then the parents find out and the parents want to get revenge on the bad guys. It's very similar to the original. The only thing that was really different, and it was great that it was different, was one of the girls, Mary, survived this time, because in this film, it's better that she survived because it's more of a family movie, a family survival movie, because we find out that the girl has a brother, an older brother called Ben, who died. So we already had a tragic death in the family, and it's something that the family are dealing with. They're still grieving because it's only been a year. And for Mary to die, I don't think that would have been the right move for them to do that. So I'm glad that they changed it up so that Mary survived and the whole family have got something to fight for. I like at the start of the movie, you see Mary in a swimming pool, and we already find out that Mary's a very good swimmer. And I think that's something that when I first saw the movie and I seen that at the start, I said to myself, I think Mary's going to survive this because she's going to fall into the water and she's going to survive because of her swimming skills. So I like that they kind of gave us foreshadowing right at the very beginning. I love the cinematography in this because the cinematography has told a story as well. There was quite eerie scenes at the beginning where you see close-ups of Mary and her body, and it's almost like the age of innocence. It's almost like it's showing us Mary before she's exploited and all the things that happen to her that are bad. It's quite eerie and quite scary to see something that's so innocent and then leading up to what happens next. Having seen the original, obviously I knew what was going to happen. I knew the main premise of the movie. So when the bad guys caught Mary and her friend Paige, when they were surrounding them, when they were telling them things are going to happen to them, it put you on the edge of your seat and you felt really uneasy because you knew what you were about to witness. Obviously, with the movie being a cinematic release and it coming out in 2009, you know it's going to be a lot more tame than the 1972 movie. But even when it happened though, you just had to look away, and it was hard to watch. Even when I watched it back in the day, I was only 25, 26 when I saw it at the cinema, and it was bad. It was hard to watch. But watching it again 14 years later, I've got 2 kids now. I've got a young daughter who's 8 years old. And I think watching it as a father of a young girl, it was heartbreaking. I had to look away. I definitely had to look away this time. I knew what was happening anyway. I had seen it before, so I didn't mind just looking away at that point. But it was hard to watch. even a film that came out in the cinema, even a film that had all these big stars in it, it's something that's just hard to watch. And that's why I don't really watch these films like Hostel and Saw and the torture porn kind of films. They're hard to watch at times. This one, it was hard to watch, but what I enjoyed about this film was, after the ordeal, after everything that happened to these girls, I knew there was going to be payback near the end. I knew there was going to be something to look forward to, the revenge. After that terrible ordeal, we still had an hour of the movie left, so that gave us time to really take a breath and just wait for what's about to happen. And the rest of the story is like a cat and mouse. We've got Krug and company who go to the house where where Mary's parents live, and they need a place to sleep for the night. And there's a nice little back and forth because we know who is who, but they don't. And then when the young son finds out that Mary is the daughter of these parents, he didn't say anything because he's an innocent boy. His dad is a really bad guy. His uncle's a bad guy. His dad's girlfriend's a bad woman. So he's caught up in the middle of this. He doesn't want anything to do with it, but he also can't rat his parents out. His dad out, because he knows if he said anything to these parents, they would go crazy and the dad would have one up and he would kill them. So he didn't want to say anything, so he left them little clues to say that, listen, your daughter's dead, because he doesn't know that she's still alive at this point, and he wants to give them a heads up. Luckily, with the foreshadowing at the beginning of the movie, we know that Mary is a strong swimmer. She manages to swim to shore and get herself back to the house. If watching the ordeal was hard to watch, when I saw her lying on the porch and her parents picking her up, my heart was in my mouth. I was shaking. Even though I'd seen the movie before, my heart was pounding because I just wanted her to survive, even though I knew she did. And then when they found out that she was shot and attacked, I was trembling. And then when the dad found out that she was raped as well, my heart sank for him, because I obviously don't want that to happen to my kid. I don't want anyone to experience that, and the fact that he's had to experience that, and you see the look on his face, you just know that he needs to get revenge for what happened and who done it. And then when the mum found her chain around the cup, she knew that these guys that they're helping at this moment in time are the attackers of their daughter and her friend. I see this movie having three parts. I see the ordeal at the beginning being the first part of the movie. The middle part, the centre part, is the bad guys getting to know Mary's family, and that kind of audience knowing who's who, but them not knowing who's who. And then you've got the finale, you've got the revenge, the parents' revenge, and my god guys, the revenge was so sweet. With every person that they killed and the way that they killed them, I almost cried with joy. I like seeing the scenes where Krug is up the stairs, he's not got a gun on him, he knows that the parents know who he is, and he's cowering away like a little shitbag, and he's trying to get away from them. That's the sort of thing that you want to see in these types of rape revenge films, because we find it hard to watch at the beginning, but we know there's going to be some sort of payoff, and I think the payoff was amazing. Krug's son Justin, I really liked him because he didn't deserve to die, and I'm really glad he didn't die in this film, because it would be untrustworthy, the fact that this boy tried his best to help without hurting anyone, and then him dying. I wouldn't like that. So I'm really glad that he decided not only not to die, but he ended up helping the family as well, because he knew what his dad done was wrong, and he just wanted to make amends for that. I love the end of the movie, because not only did Mary survive, not only did Justin survive, not only did they all get away unscathed, or almost unscathed, Krug got his just deserves. He got his head put in a microwave while his body was paralysed, and the dad just put the microwave on. Amazing, absolutely amazing. This film was more than just a rape revenge film that the original was. This was about family survival. You see the marriage, almost like the marriage was going to break up, because the parents moved to this little cottage just to get away for a few days, because the year has been tough. They lost their son and they want to stay as a family together, and you can see that the parents weren't just getting along that well, and it's almost like they gave up on the marriage. But with this fight at the end, knowing that they have each other's backs, that's what the family is all about. They knew each other, they knew they loved each other anyway, but they just cemented that, because they would do anything for their kids, they would do anything for each other. And that's what this movie is about. It's not just about the rape and not just about the revenge, it's about that family dynamic and that family survival. That's why this movie is head and shoulders above the original. Having not seen this film since before I was a parent, I was actually surprised at how much of an impact this movie had on me as a parent, and I was actually surprised at how much I loved this film as well. Obviously, you have to watch the good with the bad, and the start of the film was a rough watch, but as the movie went on, as we knew that they were going to get revenge, then it made it such a sweet end to the film, despite what happened at the start. So yeah, I think I love this movie more than I did before. I think it's a fantastic film. I always look at remakes thinking, what's the best remake? Is it the Evil Dead remake from 2013? Is it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003? Dawn of the Dead 2004? And I never really looked at The Last House on the Left from 2009 as being anywhere near close to any of these films, but as I've matured, as I've grown as having a family, I think this one is a strong contender to be maybe not the best, but certainly one of the best remakes ever made. So what are your thoughts on The Last House on the Left, guys? Is it better than the original? Did you like the original to begin with? And if you're a parent, how hard did you feel that this movie was to watch? Leave your comments down below, guys. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
To get you, Barbara.
Ever played in the cat?
Someone's in the back! See?